So hi and welcome to this video. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be creating our virtual machine. Well, we'll be doing some of it because it's a complicated process. So let's get started. What we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of the print hello world, and we're going to actually start our virtual machine. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to create a function called run program, and that's going to obviously run our program. And what I should have said earlier on, actually, what our virtual machine is going to do is it's going to do simple adds. So we're going to say like add two numbers together, multiply two numbers, something like that. So what I'm going to say, run program, and I'm going to pass it the argv1, which means the first command line argument. So argv means command line arguments. argv1 means the first command line argument. So as you see now, if I actually just comment that out, and I just print the all the command line arguments, and I run it again, you can see the first command line argument is actually the name of the file. But if I put in anything after that, you can see we have two command line arguments now, and this is actually a list. By using the one, we're actually accessing the second item of the list. So if I print this. So this it looks like the first argument, but it's actually the file name is the first argument. And by saying we want to print the first argument, or I mean the second argument, by putting a 1 in there, it looks like we want to print the first argument. But since computers count from 0 instead of counting from 1, this is actually the second argument we're going to print, which means we're going to print whatever's after the file name. So if I put in anything, I just say Francis as the command line argument after the file name. As you can see, it just prints Francis. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the run function, or the run program function now. So we're going to say def run program, and then what we're going to do is we're going to the run program function is going to execute two more functions. The first one is going to be load program, and the second one is going to be execute program. So we're going to comment out execute program for now because we don't need that at the moment. I'm going to go up here and we're going to create the load program function. So at the minute I'm just going to put print nothing in here for the moment. So what I've just done is I've created a file called hello.vm. The file extension is arbitrary, meaning you can call it whatever you want. I just chose .vm because we're creating a virtual machine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some code to actually make our virtual machine work. I mean, some code that our virtual machine is going to run. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to create instructions. So the first instruction is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And what that instruction is going to do is it's going to say end of the instruction. The next instruction is going to be 0, 0, 0, 1. Actually, we're going to use two digits, and I'll tell you more about that later. Actually, 0, 1 is going to be end of instruction. And this is going to be end of the program altogether. When the program sees 0, 0, it's going to end it completely. So 0, 2 is going to be the push instruction, because what we're going to be creating is a stack-based virtual machine. So how a stack-based virtual machine works is basically whenever I push a number onto the stack, basically what I'm doing is I'm saying, when I say push 10 for example, what I'm going to do is it puts 10 on the top of the stack. So just imagine this is the stack. Then whenever I push another number on the top of the stack, it pushes 10 down and it pushes the next number up. So say I put 5 on the top of the stack now. So now our stack has two items and 5 is on top. So then if I had a function called print, if I used the print function, it would print the top of the stack, which in this case is 5, so it would print the number 5. There's other commands like pop, which is going to be 0, 3, which is where we remove the top item of the stack. So when we just use the pop command, it's going to remove the number 5, and then that means 10 is going to be the top of the stack. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a fourth one, which is going to be print. The let's say fifth one is going to be add, and the sixth one is going to be subtract. We'll leave it like that for now. We'll add more afterwards. So as you can see, that's what our instructions mean. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a simple program out of it using our own instructions. So the first instruction has to be push, because the first thing we want to do is we want to push a number onto the top of the stack. If we don't push a number onto the top of the stack, we can't do anything, because all the virtual machine does is it manipulates things on the stack, and at the moment there's nothing on the stack because we haven't told it to push anything. So if I use the numbers, if I wrote 0, 2, then I put a number, so I'm going to say 10. Actually, to make things easier to understand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use hexadecimal notation basically to differentiate between instructions and numbers. I mean instructions and things like numbers and literals or whatever. So as you can see, the instructions, well, it's hard to actually see, but the instructions are going to be in base 10, and everything else will be in base 16 or hexadecimal. So if I was going to push the number 10 onto the stack, I would say 000A. And the 0000 is actually not necessary, but I'm going to use 4 digits to represent anything that isn't an instruction. So an instruction is going to be made up of 2 digits, and everything else is going to be made up of 4 digits, which is why there's the 3 unnecessary zeros at the front. So 000A is actually 10 in hexadecimal, which is base 16. So the way hexadecimal works is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's actually a 0 at the top. So these are all fine. These are all exactly the same as they are in decimal or base 10. But whenever we get past 9, in decimal what we do is we just move on to 10, which is made up of a 1 and a 0. But in base 16 there's 16 symbols, in base 10 there's only 10. So in base 16 what we do is we use A for the next number, which is 11 in this case. I mean 10. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So A equals 10, B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, E is 14, and F is 16, or 15, I mean. But as you can see, there's actually 16 symbols. So if I just paste here, you can see there's 16 symbols now, there's 16 lines. So that's how hexadecimal works, and that's how our virtual machine is going to work. So what we're doing is we're pushing 10 onto the top of the stack. Then we're going to say 0, 1, because we're going to say that's the end of the instruction, because we're just going to push 10 and that's it, we're done. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to push another number onto the top of the stack. Okay, actually no, before we do that, we're just going to print the top of the stack. So we're going to say 0, 4. So what we're doing is we're pushing 10 onto the top of the stack, ending the instruction, and we're printing the top of the stack. And that's what our simple program is going to be. So I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to save this as that. So this is our program for now. Then what I'm going to do up here is I'm just going to create a comment so we remember what our instructions are. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to open a file. We actually have to open the file to be able to load in the program. So here what we're doing is we're passing the command line argument of the file name we want to open to the run program function. And then in the run program function we need to accept the argument, so I'm going to say argv. That means we are passing the variable we're going to store in this function, and we're going to give it to the load program function. So I'm going to put argv in there as well. And then now we've passed it to the load program function, we need to pass it, or now we've given it the load program function, the load program function has to accept it, so we need to give it here so that we can accept it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print argv, and as you can see, it's just going to print the file name. Or I mean, it's going to print this, for example, it's going to print Francis exactly as it did. And if I put anything else like howCode, it does exactly the same thing. So that's it for this video. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. So in the next video, what we're going to be doing is loading the program into the virtual machine. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.